All right, today we're going to be mixing with LMMS, release candidate 1.2.0, release candidate 7. All right, let's jump right in. Controller rack we don't need today. FX mixer we absolutely need today. That is the focus of this tutorial. Um, Automation track we don't need. Beat and bass line, remove this track. Sample track remove. Triple oscillator remove. Before we get started, come up here to edit, view, no, edit, settings, and come down 1, 2, 3, 4 right here in your general settings page. And you want to light up this lamp here, display volume at decibels right over here. So far in these tutorials, I've been using percentage value, but most of the tutorials that I've seen, they use decibels. So you want to enable this, you want to click OK, and it's going to say, please note that most changes won't take effect until you restart LMMS. Click OK. X out of it right now if you want that effect, if you want the decibels as opposed to a percentage value, and then come back into LMMS after you've done that. All right, so we're going to be working with a couple plugins here. The first one, let's open up our instrument plugins on the top left-hand side over here. Drag in Watson into your song editor, and drag in Mallets into your song editor. Now I'm going to clone Watson. Come over to the gear icon, left click, clone this track. I'm going to clone Mallets. Left click, clone, left click, clone. So we have 3 Mallets and 2 Watsons. All right, first Watson, left click, open it up, left click up here, and we're going to call this one bass. Okay. Now I'm going to, we're going to be using a sine wave on the A1 here, and on the B1, we're going to be using a triangle wave. All right, come to your volume, take your volume down all the way on the A2, take your volume all the way down on the B2. We're only going to be using two oscillators today. I'm going to take my crosstalk all the way up. I'm going to take my amount over here, and I'm going to favor the A is going to be your sine wave, and the B is going to be your saw wave. So I want to hear more of that sine sound. My amount also I'm going to take over this way toward the sine value. Now, over here in the A1 oscillator, come to your left detune, left click twice. We're going to reassign that a value of -24. Now in your A1, come to your right detune, double left click twice, and hit a value of -12. Okay. Now come down to your B1, left detune, double left click, hit on a value of -12. Okay. And your B1 right detune, double left click, -1, 2, -12. Okay, so we have those values down. I'm going to take my decibels down to like -12 just for right now because it's going to be extremely loud in that Watson. And I'm going to hit Y on my piano keyboard. Every time you see me, every time you hear me testing a note, I'm going to be hitting Y on the, computer keyboard, all right? Because that's going to be your A4 value. So that's the sound we're going for with our bass right here, all right? Next thing I want to do is I want to reassign this pitch to an A7. So I'm going to come over here on this piano keyboard right here and reassign my pitch. That's with a left click to an A7 right here. All right. Now let's listen. Now I can bring my volume up because it's a little bit low now. I'm going to reset this to a value of 100%. Okay. Next thing I want to do is I want to come over to my envelope. I want to raise my amount. I'll max it out. Double left click on attack, and I'm going to change that to 0.01. Okay. I'm going to enable my filter. I'm going to light up this filter lamp, and I'm going to come down here to 2 times low pass. I'm going to double left click on my frequency, and I'm going to take my frequency down to 4,000%. Or, excuse me, I'm going to take my frequency down to 4,000 hertz. Okay. Let's see. I think we're good right here. Let's listen. Okay, so that's going to be our bass sound. Next, we're going to make this a lead. Single left click, Come up to the top box. We're going to name this one lead. All right, and this is again in Watson. We're creating this lead. Both of these I'm going to keep as sine waves. So I'm going to drop my A2 volume. I'm going to drop my B2 volume. We're not going to be using those at all. All right. The next thing I'm going to do, let's take a listen. And we're still over here. Our pitch is right now on A4. Every time you open up a new instrument window for your audio file processor area, it's going to default to A4. All right, listen. Very loud. I'm taking that down to a value about negative 12 decibels right now. Okay, now I'm going to come over to my envelope window. I'm going to raise my amount all the way. My attack I'm going to take to 0.05. Okay. I'm going to run it through one. I'm not going to run it through any filters actually. And let me listen. That's fine. That's going to be our lead sound right now. Now what I want to do is I want to clone this track. All right. I want to open up my clone track and I want to call this Watson lead low. Okay. Actually, so that it'll all fit on your channel, we'll call it WLL. So that's our Watson lead low. And enter. Now for our Watson lead low, this is going to be the exact same settings that we've made for our Watson lead. Okay, but we're going to tweak it just a little bit. So what I'm going to do for the Watson lead low is I'm going to come to my B1 and I'm going to turn my B1 into a saw wave. So we're going to assign that a saw wave. That's over here on the far right hand side. You have your sine, triangle, saw, square waves. Okay, now let's take a listen to it. I'm going to raise the pitch to an A5. I'm going to raise the pitch to an A6. I'm going to keep it at an A5. Okay, so that's our pitch and that is our, let's go over to our envelope. We've raised the amount, that's good. Filter, I'm going to do a SV low pass on this particular instrument. Let's listen. Okay, that sounds good. That's about what I want to do here. Next, let's come to Mallets. Open up Mallets, single left click, come up to the top and change this to Wood 2. Enter, come over here, drop down this menu, find Wood 2, single left click, click on your A4. Let's move over to our A4 here. That's very low, so I want to come to my effects window first. I'm going to add an effect, and I'm going to come down here to amplifier stereo, left click, OK. I'm going to come over here to the gain, increase my gain, and I'm going to test this note. Good. I'm happy with that. Now let's come to our envelope. We're going to raise our amount all the way. And everything else is good for right now. Okay, good. Next, we're going to come over to Mallets again, and the next mallet down, left click. Let's change the name to Marimba. Now we'll drop down this menu, select Marimba. And this is going to be a little bit loud, so let me take the volume down to about -4. Test it. Okay, so that's our marimba sound, and we're going to keep it just like that. Actually, let me open this back up. Let's go to our envelope, raise the amount. Yeah, and we're good. Now let's come to Mallets, the last Mallets. Change the name to Wood 1. Let's drop down this menu of instruments, and we're going to choose Wood 1. Let's take a listen. That pitch is a little bit higher than I want because that marimba is already like right here. and this wood one is kind of up there. That's going to get annoying, so I'm going to change the pitch a little bit. All right, I like it right here, and I guess I don't even know what the hell that is. C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, um, C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, F. So I have it on the F right here. Okay, so that's good. Next, we have all our instrumentation. Let's create a little beat. Okay, so I'm going to open up my Watson bass, double left click here on the piano roll. And I'm going to create a very simple beat here. Now that's the A4. Now, if you remember, I'm going to choose a scale, and choosing a scale is going to help give me structure, because every particular project is going to have its own unique scale. All right, so come to the A4. First, I'm going to select a scale up here. I'm going to select my melodic minor, come to the A4, right click, and click Mark Current Scale. Now, everything that's lit up is going to be a note that is within this particular scale. All right, so I don't want to do that. I want to do this. All right, let's listen to our bass line here. I can live with that. Very simple bass line, very simple beat. Okay, next we're going to come to our Watson lead, and we're going to create a lead tone. I'm going to hit Control on my keyboard, left click on my mouse, drag and drop. Now let's open up this lead here. I'm going to get rid of these double tap values. I'm going to come to my selection tool, select these 3 notes. Okay, select my draw tool, and open these 3 notes for a full measure piece. Next, I'm going to come to my choose tool, my select tool, select these 2 notes, go to my draw tool, and open up these 2 notes. Okay. Select my draw tool, just a little left click, and unselect all of these notes. Now let's listen to this one. So this is going to be our lead melody, kind of. Now what I want to do in this lead melody is I don't want it to be as boring as this right here. So I want to make what we call arpeggios. And the way that you construct arpeggios, for the most part, is to take notes that are within the chord of that note, of a specific chord, and you play them separately. You don't play them all at the same time. So I'm going to show you how to create an arpeggio on this beat. Come over here to chord. Since this is melodic minor over here, I'm going to choose a minor chord. My select tool, and I'm going to delete all of these values. But immediately after I delete them, I'm going to assign a chord value there. All right, so right click delete, left click add, 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 right click delete, left click add. Okay, now I want to create an arpeggio. So right now, if we take a listen, and it's going to be a little loud, I believe. Let me turn this down some more. Cancel. I want to turn it down manually using the knob. Now let's play this right now. Okay, so those are chords right now that are playing. And I want to play them as arpeggios, meaning I want to play the notes separately. So what I'm going to do is bring this one over. So if you notice, none of these values are playing at the same time. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Okay. And I'm going to come over here. This one is in a dark row, right? And I don't want it. I don't want a note here in the dark row. So I'm just going to bring it down to the next lit up area. Okay. It's just so that we maintain the integrity of that particular scale structure. All right. And over here, I want to, I'm going to delete this value altogether since it's in the dark. And on this value, it's going to be loud because there are two notes are going to play. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the volume down on both of those notes so that when they play together, it's not going to be too loud. Now over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to delete this value. These are both lit up. And I'm going to take this volume down a little bit so that it doesn't get too loud. Now let's take a listen. All right, so that's our lead. Next, I want to come to my Watson lead low. And again, I'm going to come to my Watson lead this time. Hit Control on the keyboard, left click, drag and drop. Now let's open up our Watson lead low. And now for this one, I'm just going to keep the values which we start at. Let's listen. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. That sounds good to me. Next, I'm going to come over to my wood 2. Let's open it up in the piano roll. I'm going to sign here at the A4. Oh, and this just illustrates something which I neglected to tell you. Now that I've chosen a chord, it's going to create a chord every time I go to assign a note. So you have to come back up to your chord and choose no chord, okay? Because we're not going to be creating any more chords right now. So I'm going to come to my A4. I'm going to give it a nice little tap here, tap here, tap here, tap here. It's going to be on the 1 and the 2 essentially, or some variation thereof for this particular tutorial. For this particular project, I'd like to say. Now let's take and listen to our wood. Very good. I can live with that. I did not stop it. Now let's come to our marimba. We're going to drop a marimba in the third of every measure here. Third beat of every measure. More or less, and then we'll just add a little change up here at the end. Now let's take a listen to our marimba. Now I can live with that. And finally, we're going to come to our wood. And for my wood, I want to come back up to my wood 2. Control, left click, drag and drop. Let's try that again. Control, left click, drag and drop. Now let's open it up. Now over here at my A, we're at the A. That's everywhere the wood's actually going to be hitting. And I don't want the wood 1 and wood 2 to hit together. So I'm going to come down here to my, let me come to my F sharp. And I'm going to put the wood in these gaps here. Get your head out of the gutter, people. All right, so we'll put this wood here in this gap and this gap. Let's see what else we got. We'll put one in this gap here. Put one in this gap here. one here, one here, one here. Let me see if it sounds like it's too much. Now the values that are on top at the A4, we can go ahead and get rid of those. Okay. Let's hit play and let's. I think that's going to be okay. All right. So we've now constructed our little beat here. Now it's time to mix it. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do when it's time to mix is we're going to assign all of these instruments to a mixing channel. So left click, Watson bass, and then assign to a channel, Watson lead, assign, Watson lead low, assign, wood 2, assign, marimba, assign, wood 1, assign. So we have all our instruments right here assigned to a channel. Now I'm going to double up on our instrumentation. That's left click, control, control, left click, drag and drop. And we're just going to we're going to double up on the instrument. So you're going to take one and just move one over, control, left click, drag and drop. Enable my loop feature, right click over here at the end of these two phrases. And now let's listen to our song here. All right. On my Watson lead low, I'm not happy with that. So I'm going to delete this value and delete this value. Okay, come over to this other one, delete that, and then control, drag and drop. See if I like this better. Okay, now if you've noticed, I'm coming over here. Normally what I'm going to do is control my volumes over here. And all the previous tutorials I've done, I've worked with these volumes, knobs over here. But these are called sliders. And you can also control the volume of your sliders. And you're going to watch your master. I never like to see it peak out in red, all right? You can always amplify that later, like in Audacity or whatever you choose to use. All right, now what I want to do, I'm looking at this Watson bass and I want to add an effect to the bass and I want to add an effect to the lead. Now I can come over here to the Watson bass, open this up, open up my effects window and add an effect. I could do that, but I'm not going to do that because this is a mixing tutorial. I can do that anyway, but in terms of the main mix of the song, the main vibe of the song, I'm going to go ahead and work with the effects over here. Now, I'm going to hit the plus icon first. All right, I'm going to rename this new channel, which is FX7. I'm going to rename it Pulsator. Okay. Now, if you notice, the Pulsator is gray and the rest of these are a darker color. If I click on Watson bass, left click, the Watson bass is going to be gray. If I click on the Watson lead low, that's going to be gray. Now, the one that's gray is the one that we're working with. So I want to add an effect to this Pulsator channel for right now. Let's go to add an effect. Type in Pulsator. Okay. Now I'm going to take my frequency up over here, my Pulsator, somewhere around 62, 63. And these numbers are not set in stone. This is just me eyeballing it right now. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to send my bass through the Pulsator. So I'm going to left click on my bass and then I'm going to click over on top of the Pulsator, send to Pulsator. All right. So I've just sent my bass, clicked on my bass and sent it to the Pulsator. Now this knob right here controls my effect. I'm going to take this knob all the way down. Next thing I'm going to do is solo my Watson bass only, and I'm going to play it. And as I'm playing this bass, I'm going to be slowly increasing the amount of the effect, and I'm also going to be taking down this volume slider over here at the same time. So this is the mixing game. This is it. Very good. I can live with that. I like that. Now we're going to come over to the Watson lead. Left click on Watson lead, okay? And then we're going to click on send to pulsator. Now I'm going to decrease this effect over here on this knob. I'm going to come over to Watson lead. I'm going to click, left click, and light up this red lamp over here. That means that it's soloed. It's the only track that's going to be playing. Hit play, and then let's tweak it. I think I can live with that. All right, but I have other plans for the Watson lead. Let me open up my Watson lead very quickly. And we have reassigned it to a value of A5, so that's good. It's going to be nice and low. It's the lead low. Left click on Watson lead low. Actually, that's wrong. Let's go ahead and get rid of that one. We're going to add a new effect. I don't want to put my Watson lead low through the pulsator. I want to put it through reverb. So we're going to add a new channel. I'm going to double left click on this channel and I'm going to type in reverb. And okay. Now I'm going to remember whatever's gray is the one that you're working with. I want to be working with the reverb right now. So let's click that, get that gray, add effect, type in reverb. Very good. And I've chosen the C-Star Plate 2x2 reverb. We're going to take the bandwidth all the way up, tail all the way up. We're going to take the blend all the way up, and we're going to bring the damping all the way down. Next, I'm going to light up the red lamp over here beside Watson lead low. All right. I don't need this pulsator anymore. And I'm going to hit play. Well, before I do that, actually, let's come over to Watson lead low, left click on it. We're going to send that to the reverb. So click send over the reverb and then drop this value down. Next thing I'm going to do is play it and tweak it. All right, so that looks good to me. It sounds good to me. I give it that echo effect that reverb does. Let reverb do what it do. Now we're going to click over here on Wood 2, left click, come to reverb, send to reverb, drop this value. We've soloed it, so let's play and tweak. Sounds a little bit loud to me. I can live with that. Next, let's come to the marimba. Solo the marimba. Left click on marimba. Send it to the reverb channel. Take down your value. Okay. Let's do that again. My finger slipped. Marimba. Now let's play it. Tweak it. And you hear that effect? If I take this all the way down and you look at the reverb channel, you're going to see nothing. But if I take it up, you're going to see that it's slowly being sent to the reverb channel. All right, so that's cool. And finally, we're going to come down, solo our Wood 1, left click on Wood 1, send to the reverb channel, take this all the way down at first. Let's do that again. I slipped again. And solo the wood and play. And I like that effect. So we're good. Now I'm going to unsolo this, and we're going to be able to hear all of them. Next thing I'm going to do is kind of create a little, I'm going to layer this out a little bit. So control, drag, and drop, and just extend your tracks to about 4 phrasings. Whoops. 4 phrasings apiece. Now I'm going to enable my loop feature. Right click over here at the end of all 4 of these phrases. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to start with my wood 1 and my wood 2 only. So I'm going to get rid of my marimba. I'm going to get rid of my Watson lead low, Watson lead, and bass. All right. Next, I'm going to have my, let's see, let's play with it. Just my bass is going to kick in. I'm going to come over here to my Watson lead low, open up my Watson lead low, come to my envelope, and I'm going to increase my attack here. So it doesn't start at the same time as the bass. So we're going to have the bass and our lead low, right? And my marimba, I'm just going to single tap my marimba for right now. And my wood, I'm going to single tap my wood for right now. It'll be boring to start off. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to drop this Watson lead low. Get rid of that. We'll have my bass. We'll have the lead. And then we'll have all the instruments playing. Let me come to my marimba. That's good. And let's take a listen to the song that we've just created. Now this is how to mix. Now after you've assigned your loop feature, and you're just going to listen to it on a loop. And as you're listening to it, you're going to hear little things that you want to change or you want to augment, or you're going to see what volumes you're going to be watching your master. And you're just going to be tweaking it until you're happy with this sound. So I'm probably going to play this through twice. And this is how you mix with LMMS 1.2.0 release candidate 7. I hope this makes your life a little bit easier, and I'll see you next time.